We are learning more about the suspect charged with stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death. Stores are doing their very best to keep their shelves stocked, although there are restrictions. You can only grab 2. And if you do have more questions, you can always visit the American Academy of Pediatrics website. That's aap.org. They have a lot of great information for parents. Kind of a chilly start to the morning. Yesterday felt great, still in the 80s, and now we're finally dipping into these cooler fall temperatures. Hurricane Ian touched down in Cuba today. It is a Category 3 storm, but it could become a Category 4 by tonight. What are ways that we can avoid drowsy driving and stay safe? How confident are you that this is going to pass in the Senate? Did the parents give any indication that the students, their kids, knew the suspect, Brian Koberger? And the Idaho Department of Fish and Game is cautioning all hunters to look for signs of the avian flu. We're looking up here though at the skies. We're seeing that haze that's coming in from the moose fire. DNA evidence was revealed in court for the first time that may suggest Lori Valadeva was involved with the deaths of her 2 children. Here's just a reminder of the charges that she's facing. We started this hour with a developing story. Earlier this morning, we told you that Highland High School in Pocatello caught fire. Well, Local News 8's Cole Sams is out there at the scene gathering more information. I'm here in Idaho Falls at Summit Hills Elementary School, just one of several polling locations in the area. Again, polls open this morning at 8 a.m. Law enforcement agencies throughout the state of Idaho are teaming up and urging drivers to get rid of the distractions. That means putting these things down.
Cooking non-stop for 100 hours?
Oh my goodness, just imagine the amount of dishes you would have to wash after that. Hey, we're here at the grand opening of the Spitfire Pickleball Club in Idaho Falls, a brand new, awesome facility.
I've done everything I possibly can to try and beat Emma.
We'll see about that. We're ready. So come over here with me. Let's look at the recent numbers as cases and hospitalizations continue to rise in Idaho. Thank you, Dr. Ashton. Well, we heard news just earlier today that the FDA officially authorized that second booster shot. Many of us are guilty of it. Getting behind the wheel while drowsy.
It's easy to, set the cruise and kind of forget about it and get lost in daydreaming thoughts or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're in a crash. Your eyes get watery, or you start to yawn, and your body gets tired. Then a lot of your senses that help you pay attention and watch down the road for hazards and emergencies, those kind of things start diminishing and narrowing in.
According to the Idaho Transportation Department, last year there were 679 crashes where drowsiness was a factor. These accidents resulted in at least 55 serious injuries and 5 fatalities.
Speed and inattention are typically the 2 primary factors in most all of our crashes.
Sergeant Brian Lovell with the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office says, though we tend to talk mainly about drunk driving and driving distracted by things like phones, driving while drowsy can be just as deadly.
I can think of several instances where I believe that was a factor. We did have a fatality, and the driver that had crossed the center line had went head on with another truck, unfortunately died. We have no other factor involved and no other thing to consider other than we believe that it's likely that he fell asleep at the wheel. Very traumatic situation for everybody involved.
This is something that's pretty personal to me because I was recently in a car accident. A guy fell asleep and then hit me and hit a few other cars as well. No one was seriously injured, so it was very fortunate, but it's scary and it's something that's very, very real. What are ways that we can avoid drowsy driving and stay safe?
I think the key is really just planning ahead. If you know you've got to make that long drive tomorrow, making sure you get sufficient amount of sleep tonight.
Sergeant Lovell says things like caffeine and turning up the radio are only temporary fixes, so it's perfectly okay to pull over at a safe place and rest. And for more information and safe driving tips, you can head to our website, localnews8.com. Wide awake in Bonneville County, I'm Emma Benson. As COVID-19 protective measures like masking and social distancing are decreasing, we're seeing a rise in illnesses this winter, including RSV, which particularly impacts children. Now, I actually spoke with a local mother who recently lost her 16-month-old son to RSV and is now warning other parents of the dangers of this virus. One-year-old Odie was a normal, healthy kid. He loved cars, cats, and hanging out with his older brother.
Oh yeah, they played video games together. And balloons was his favorite. We had a balloon at least in this house every month.
But things changed this past December.
I think he had some fever a couple days.
Little Odie got sick. It seemed like just a cold.
Mainly just wanted to sleep and not eat so much because he really liked to eat. He'd like to eat his fries and stuff. He didn't really want to eat that.
Odie's mom, Jenna, took him to the hospital where he was diagnosed with the respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV.
There's been a significant number of cases this year. It's been moving through the community fairly quickly.
Odie was in and out of the hospital for weeks.
We spent Christmas there. He didn't really get to open up his presents.
And then on January 5th, a parent's worst fear.
They let us out of the room and just let us know that's all we can do for him, really.
The virus taking little Odie's life.
It kind of hit, but I still kind of wake up like, I think my baby's still at the hospital, hoping that I get a call that he's going to be better. And I forget that he's not going to come back.
Odie's mom sharing his story to caution parents and encourage them to stay vigilant. Doctors echoing the same message.
I think the biggest thing is prevention, washing hands during times of the year like this. If you have a young baby, being very selective about where you go and avoiding big groups of people so that you're not exposed to it any more than you have to. If you have a family member or somebody who's sick and potentially coming to visit or things like that, ask them to wait until they're well before they come.
If your kids are sick, just keep them home. Let them rest. Let them get better.
Things Jenna hopes will help to prevent future tragedies as she remembers her balloon-loving boy. I'm Emma Benson reporting.
It's very brave of Jenna for sharing their story. Well, they actually held a funeral for baby Odie last week, and there's a GoFundMe page to support the family. If you would like to donate, you can find the link to that on our website, localnews8.com.
Well, there are more than 200 species of animals you can encounter during your visit to Yellowstone or Grand Teton National Park. Some are skittish and keep their distance from you, but others can get too close for comfort and could leave you seriously injured.
Yeah, so whether you're at the parks or out on a hike somewhere, you do need to be prepared. I actually spoke with Idaho Fish and Game about what to do when you do encounter wildlife. It's that time of year again when animals are out of hibernation.
Give animals their space.
Living in Idaho or Wyoming means learning how to coexist with wildlife.
With most wildlife, it's just situational awareness is kind of key.
Now, animal attacks are rare in the Gem State, but they can still happen, like this one caught on camera a few months ago. Two brothers were attacked by a moose while snowmobiling near Palisades.
We should have gotten our sleds turned around, and then my brother should have given it more space and just given it space to do its thing. It just happened really fast.
And now that it's warming up and Yellowstone National Park is crowded with visitors, officials are once again warning people to not touch the bison in the park, especially after this close call.
Man, they're big, beautiful, majestic animals that people want to get close to. They seem pretty tame, right? They call them fluffy cows sometimes, but they are powerful animals and they are quick. They're faster than you or I.
But what should you do if you do get too close to wildlife? Last time I talked to James Brower with Idaho Fish and Game about bear encounters, he showed me the best defense, bear spray.
Meant for two hands, actually, if you can. So you want to hold it like this, pull that safety catch, and then spray away.
And it's not just for bears.
Can this be used on any type of wildlife?
Absolutely. So I know more people that have used that on moose in particular than they have on bears. So it works against anything that has eyes and lungs, basically. So mountain lions, bears, moose, anything that might be a threat. If you get in the habit of taking that bear spray everywhere you go, get in the habit of when you go into the thick brush, you're going to actually maybe have it in your hand, know how to release that lever, take off that safety latch so that you can use it in a moment's notice.
So the next time you go out for a hike or head to Yellowstone, be sure to grab your bear spray and also give those animals their space.